Turkey, hands up, Kasab!
Turkey, hands up, Kasab! Turkey, why did you help extremists get into Kasab?
Demonstrations in Canada and Turkey condemning Erdogan's support to the terrorists in Kasab and Latakia countryside. Health Ministry launches the 5th national polio vaccination campaign, which will last for 6 days. Syrian Arab army units eliminate terrorists and wound others in Latakia countryside and Al-Mleha in Damascus countryside. And the People's Assembly discusses a draft law for creating the Syrian Commission for Family and Population Affairs. Good afternoon, welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The Health Ministry launched today the 5th national polio vaccination campaign through healthcare centres, medical points and roaming teams in all provinces until Thursday. In a statement, the ministry called on all parents to have their kids vaccinated at the nearest healthcare centre or medical point, reiterating that vaccines are secure and have no side effects. The 4th nationwide polio vaccination campaign reached over 2,873 million children. It started on March the 2nd and continued until the 6th of March. Vaccinations were distributed through 1,200 health centres in addition to dozens of medical posts and mobile teams. Chaired by Speaker Mohammed Jihad Al-Laham, the People's Assembly has discussed in its first session of the second extraordinary term of the first legislative term the draft law of creating a general commission called the Syrian Commission for Family and Population Affairs, with Damascus as its headquarters, that enjoys a legal entity and financial and administrative independence and affiliated to the Ministry of Social Affairs. Minister of Social Affairs Dr. Kinder Shamat pointed out that the Syrian Commission for Family Affairs, created in line with the Law 42 for the year 2003, had to do first and foremost with all domains of social affairs, and therefore should be affiliated to the Ministry of Social Affairs and not to the Prime Minister as stipulated in the previous law. She pointed out that the Commission will be tasked with improving the living conditions of the Syrian family, that is closely connected to population-based issues, and upgrading them in light of the current economic and social changes the Syrian family has been witnessing. In support of the Syrian Arab Army and its war against terrorism, hundreds of Syrians and Armenians in Canada rallied in front of the Turkish consulate in Canada. The participants, who rallied under the slogan "Save Syria, Save Kasab," denounced the attacks by the terrorist groups which are backed by Erdogan's government on Kasab in Latakia countryside.
Turkey, stop supporting terrorists!
Residents of Al-Haffa city and the neighbouring villages marched today in support of the Syrian Arab Army and its fight against the armed terrorist groups. The masses also took to the streets to celebrate the 67th anniversary of founding Arab Socialist Party. The participants expressed their appreciation for the sacrifices by the Syrian Arab Army, who fought to maintain security and stability in the country, and asserted their adherence to the unity of Syria. In Turkey, Erdogan's forces cracked down on demonstrators in the city of Wabyast, west of the country, who took to the streets to protest against the support by Justice and Development Party to the terrorists in Syria. and also against the results of the municipality elections. Hundreds of protesters from Peace and Democracy Party gathered in front of the police station as police tried to disperse them by firing live bullets, tear gas and water cannons. The demonstrations coincided with a strike by the residents and shopkeepers in the area who stopped their work in solidarity with the peaceful demonstrators. Police arrested 8 protesters. It is worth mentioning that the majority of the residents of Damascus are Turkish Armenians and Kurds who suffer of poor living conditions and services in their area compared with other parts of Turkey. Hundreds of Syrians and Armenians demonstrated in the Argentinian capital Buenos Aires in protest against the aggression backed by Erdogan's government on Kasab, northern Latakia. Army units have killed a number of terrorists and injured many others, some of whom belong to the so-called Islamic Front, and destroyed their arms and ammunition in Al-Mleha city in Damascus countryside. Sources indicated that terrorists' dens were destroyed and scores of the terrorists were killed or injured in a series of operations carried out along more than one axis in Al-Mleha city. 218 persons have turned themselves in along with their arms to the competent authorities in Rastan, Deir Malla al-Juriyya al-Jdeida, al-Sharqiyya al-Fruklutz and Deir Balba. In a different context, army units have destroyed a headquarter of armed terrorist groups near Dawar al-Kabir in Tel Dow in Al-Hula village, killing or injuring all terrorists inside. Moreover, a military source has indicated that army units have foiled an attempt by a terrorist group to infiltrate from Al-Ghantour village to Beit Nabhan in Tel Bisa, killing or injuring all the terrorists. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has warned that some countries back terrorism by using its money and political influence in the region to thwart the democratic process in Iraq and to keep it away from playing its regional and international role. During the activities of the electoral campaign of the coalition of the state of law that were kicked off in Al-Quds city, al-Maliki asserted that Iraq will not be the backyard of any state rather than the country of all the honest and faithful Iraqis. Al-Maliki disclosed that mercenaries from many states, among them Nigeria and Chad, were brought to Iraq to kill the Iraqis, pointing out that Iraq was seeking to preserve territorial integrity by rejecting quotas, despite the fierce international battle that's been waging against it. Some 1,500 students from various provinces took part in the written tests of the third stage of the 5th national competition for the Arabic language empowerment. Tests took place in a number of schools across the country as part of the competition, which was held by the Revolutionary Youth Union organization in cooperation with the Ministry of Education. Inspecting the exam process at Jawdat al-Hashimi School in Damascus, Education Minister Hazwan Al-Waz hailed the increasing turnout of students over the years, noting that these competitions help in drawing out development strategies for the Arabic language teaching. He called for intensifying the Arabic language-related activities like short stories, poetry, plays, and novels with the aim to explore and revive the aesthetics of the language and introduce its originality and deep-rootedness to the Syrian youths. The RYUO chairman Ma'an Aboud stressed the organization's keenness to embrace and empower young talents to create a generation that can fight all forms of takfiri thinking targeting the country with the weapon of science and knowledge. The skills to be tested included comprehension, linguistic exercises, appreciation, grammar, dictation, and written creative composition and linguistics. An average of 85% was set as the minimum for passing through the oral stage of the tests, which took into consideration the various grades of the participants. The oral stage, which is scheduled next Monday, will include eloquence, elocution, and oratory. In appreciation of the sacrifices of the Syrian Arab Army in defense of the homeland, a delegation of the Syrian Artists Syndicate visited injured soldiers at Yusuf al-Azma Hospital in Damascus. Head of the Public Relations Office at the syndicate said that the visit aims at expressing appreciation of the Syrian artists and people for the soldiers. Artists said that the morale of the soldiers is very high and they are resolved to return to their units once they have recovered and to continue fighting terrorists and cleansing the Syrian land of terrorism. They affirm that the soldiers are resolved to continue fighting terrorism till Syria is secure and stable once again. Syrian singer Al-Mleha has come back home after taking part in the famous musical program The Voice that captured the interests of millions in the Arab world. Mina radio station has honoured Al-Mleha in appreciation of her talent and pleasant voice by holding a festival. It is the second time Ella takes part in The Voice. She drew attention to her gift and pleasant voice when she took part in Superstar musical program in 2004. The Syrian artist Al-Mleha belongs to a family that has a long history in chanting patriotic songs for the homeland and the sacrifices made by the martyrs of the Syrian Arab army in defending the homeland against the Takfiri terrorism backed by the Saudi and Qatari regimes and also by Erdogan's government. Hala concluded the festival by singing, expressing great love for the Syrian people and its army. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. As for more details about Syria and the region, you can always view this bulletin again on syriaonline.sy. After the break, it's Vani with our economic and business news. God bless you and long live Syria.